Hey traders, just wanted to do a static video on Bitcoin, give an update, whatever. This could be interpreted a couple ways. We're looking at the 60-minute chart on Coinbase. Some could call it a triangle, whatever, with anchor point 1 and 2, and you'd not broken out yet at all. Okay, but I think downsloping resistance is important, but overhead resistance is very important too. And I think 8,500 is that big target. Okay, up here, we could probably draw a couple lines. All right, you got just the candle high close here, and you've got a couple wicks here. All right, so it's a zone. And now you could say we probably have a support zone down here. All right, so the low part, the high part. Where are we? We're in the dead middle. All right, so have to understand technical analysis. It helps us, get an edge on the market, so we have a higher probability of being right, so we can have successful trades. And if you're in the dead middle of a range like this, there are multiple things that can happen, right? You could, it looks like a flag, right? But it's the 60 minutes, so it may not be that significant. And the market participants could easily push this price right back down to the square up level. So that exchange could offload its position at a break-even price, 78.58. Of course, that could happen. But you'd think with an impulse up and down sloping consolidation, we could get a nice break to the upside, to at least test the top of the channel, which is around 8,600 or so. But what would a measure move be? Excuse me, if I just burped, if you heard it, I'm sorry. Okay, measure move at this bull pull bull flag potential combination, $456. So we kind of know like targets immediately to the upside downside, where we know if there was just not enough demand to keep this price going, you could come down to 70.55, and then you've got the lower part of the range, which might be lower risk, but you just got to be mindful that there was an impulse down. And if this is a range rectangle, it's a bearish rectangle, not bullish. So, coming up here, I don't know if we're gonna have the buying pressure to get us above the overhead resistance, but I do think my consensus has stayed the same on the 4-hour, where from your previous major high to low on this time scale anyway, the golden zone is between 89.50 and 9,700. So there is plenty of upside potential even in a downtrend at this current time to again get us up to maybe test the top of the downsloping channel that we've been respecting for months now. Okay, some could call it maybe a triple bottom. I mean, I see you there on that. But, on the 4-hour near that 886, we were showing bullish divergence convergence. But something that's very important, I think, that we're finally getting. Look, you can see how beautiful that range is, right? I mean, it looks great. This right here. You definitely have a form of bullish divergence on the MACD. And you're just now starting to show positive momentum for the first time since September 19th. All right, so it's been like what, I don't know, going on 3 weeks, a little less, but and this is what I'm talking about. You built the range here, but like you see the overhead resistance right at 87.70 above you. So the problem is with this bearish rectangle or descending triangle, whatever you want to call it, we've run up and we've tested this area that was once supposed to be a support as resistance, and we failed. So a lot of contradicting variables going on right now. I mean, again, I like the bullish engulfing candle we had yesterday. I like the RSI bullish divergence. That leads you to believe there is a pretty decent probability we could run to the upside to at least, again, 89.50 to hit the beginning of that golden zone from the high to low. All right. If you were to sell off, hey man, remember, on rectangles, triangles, whatever, the measure principle is awesome because it just gives us targets. It helps us know where we could go next, right? You should go from the size of the range, the upside. Well, look at that. And the downside. You don't want to break the downside though, because that puts you below very critical supports. that actually puts you near 6,800, 6,700. Very, very critical there. Strong supports. So just know when you've got a rectangle, triangle like that, descending triangle, people interpret it different ways. There's measured moves, and you'd think with the RSI divergence, there's a slightly higher probability we could break to the upside just to maybe make a measured move, just to make a common retrace with Fibonacci before selling off again. Okay. But just remember where we are. We haven't even made a 61.8% retrace from the December 2018 low to June 26th high. All right. I think 72.50 right here is that 618. So what, we made like a 57% retrace probably at this point, which is pretty moderate. Okay. At any point now, if this really was to, look, you have a 6-month long uptrend and then you correct for 100 days. At any time when you get to these moderate retrace levels, you can break to the upside and rally, and the continuation of this bull trend, could commence. But as it stands, we also know there are deeper levels that we could retrace to. Let me just go to mother chart. And this has all been covered in the stream a lot. This is another idea. Excuse me here. Why is this off? Okay, log scale. That's it. Yeah, sorry, I've got this set up for linear. One set up for linear, one set up for log. Let me just put this on the hourly for now. Okay, don't worry about it. That we do think that there might be a wedge developing, which is great. That's good. Wedges are very strong. So if you look in log scale at anchor point 1 and 2 on the bottom, and we got 3, we got 4 up here. Right, we have not yet hit the bottom, which is like 7,300, and we know the measure moves way down here. So, I was talking to Larley. He was in the stream last Friday talking about there could be price action that could push us down here, but maybe, that price action we could rally back up and stay inside this very large channel. So, a lot of mystery abound, man, on this asset, but we do know this was a very good recovery, and the retrace we're getting right now is still very healthy, as you can see from your low to high. In log scale, you're at a 38% retrace, right? So much deeper you could go with percentage changes. All right, so something we talked about was with that triangle. Dang, I guess I got rid of it. Remember with the triangle? Okay, when we broke out, it was a 31.75% measure move. All right, now think about it. All right, and this is something that Larley was, I didn't even think about it really, but it makes so much sense, right? A measured move price. This measures the price. So we don't want to do that because we're on log scale. So what we're going to do is we're going to move this up to a 31.75% retrace. 31.75, which does what, man? Puts you right at that 50% retrace, puts you right at that very critical support, puts you at the measured move of the linear little rectangle, remember? Puts you near the bottom of the range, or the channel, excuse me. So, I think Larley agrees that 6,800 is a very, very interesting spot where I think there might be tons of buy orders. It might be a good area to add to a position. As we know, we could keep going lower. That's what we set up stops after taking longs, but layering in at these levels seems very reasonable for sure. Okay, so if we get out of log scale real quick. Okay, we get a log scale. Let me hide this. We know that the 618 is near this 6,800 area too, which is 7,250. But I don't think you want to fall below that. That's not really good, if you ask me. That's a local bottom. When you break these and then you back test them, you sell off again. That's the trend's reversed. It's bearish then. Dude, and I'm just all over the place on this analysis today because there's just so much to talk about with log scale, linear scale, measure moves in log scale, Fibonacci, in log scale or in linear scale, and then you have that one idea. This is the crazy one that, just for the sake of liking Bitcoin, and liking people that are in Bitcoin, I would want to do this, but there might very well be a great opportunity if we ever got there, which I don't. It seems unlikely right now, but always a possibility. 4,400, the PCC of a potential huge bullish bat pattern. So, again, not what we want, but at least we know there's deep value levels down there. All right. But again, we're looking for that 68 to 6,700 level. We know we could square up to the upside with the rectangle, right? Looks like a major square up is around 9,700 to the upside. So, but don't you see it where you could just have maybe one bottom, two bottoms, three bottoms? Okay, and maybe we're flagging now, and that could be what propels us upwards. All right, you have to understand, this is a higher low than this low. All right, that's a very good thing. Like, that's accumulation. It's not the exact same one, even though it's close, right? It kind of matches the September 26th level. So, I'm not saying it's head and shoulders at all. It's super, super scuffed. But if you were, okay, how would we do it? That's the neckline, man. All right, the collar, the other collar, and the neckline. All right. And it's the same thing. Think about it, right? I mean, it's just not very different at all. The measure moves are all the same, right? If it broke to the upside, like, I guess the only difference would be it's slanted, so it'd be a little bit more conservative. I mean, you could run up to 91/26, and if you're talking about it like that, okay. So we are at a critical resistance. Maybe we're flagging. We are not showing divergence yet on the 60-minute, which is good. We're not definitely not showing it on the 4-hour. Yeah, there's just no. This is not. Sorry, this is not divergence. We're not making a higher high yet. We would have to make a higher high or the same high as 8,500. So yeah, man. Again, it's not as clear here on Bitcoin. Believe me. Look, man, this is why we look at like hundreds of different assets that are not called Bitcoin, because sometimes Bitcoin will show us extremely nice coinciding variables where it makes sense to make an amazing trade on it, and then sometimes there's not, okay? And you can take your chances with a long to the upside to play this, or you could take a small short for the square up. But I'll tell you, I like the higher low. I like the fact that we have definitely 100% not made a common retrace from your previous high to low at all. We hit a 23% retrace and sold off, only to retrace to make a higher low, right? So I think you have a slightly higher level of probability for upside potential than downside right now in Bitcoin, just based on all the analysis I've made, okay? But just know it's kind of like a rectangle, so it could go either way, okay? So, sorry, just rambling today. We're on about all kinds of stuff with Bitcoin. If you did enjoy this rambling session, hit that like button, that bell, that sub. Please leave a comment in the section below. Really appreciate y'all. Again, measure move in this situation is 91.31, all right? Big square up at 9,700. But a small square up to the downside, 79.14. So until next time, respect the TA.